Louisiana All American Sports Show. 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 Louisiana. If the sports you wanna talk about, then listen to the hottest show that's coming out the South. It's Eric Hatfield and Coach Perry Daniels, man. They're gonna sit you down and tell you all about the game and make it plain. 96.9 FM, that's the station. To hear the best sports talk show in the nation. Without hesitation, you should get with this and get your popcorn ready for you better not miss. Louisiana All American Sports Show. Louisiana All American Sports Show. Louisiana All American Sports Show. Louisiana. It's Joker B. Check this out.
Ooh, I'm just so fresh, so clean. Good morning, Baton Rouge, and welcome to another edition of the Louisiana All American Sports Show here on 96.9 FM WHYR-LP, Baton Rouge Community Radio. It's a beautiful Saturday morning. Good morning. This is Eric Hatfield.
And I'm Gerard Piper, a.k.a. Joker P.
And I'm expecting we'll be joined by Coach Perry Daniels shortly. There's a lot going on, so let's not waste time with the pleasantries and jump into it. Yesterday,
we gotta talk about it.
Oh, yeah, man. Yesterday was the first day that live bullets were flying in high school football, and the Louisiana All American Sports Game of the Week, which was for the first time broadcast over the airwaves of 96.9 FM WHYR, was the first annual Heritage Bowl last night at Breck Memorial Stadium between the Scotlandville Hornets and the McKinley Panthers. The Scotlandville Hornets won big time, 44-0, and that was in large part of the efforts of their quarterback, Levi Lewis, and young Levi joins us in studio this morning, live and in person.
What's up?
Levi Lewis, thank you so much, young man, for coming out to the studio this morning. I know there are other things you could be doing on a Saturday, probably, among other things, resting. As I'm sure you're probably pretty sore this morning, but that was one heck of a performance last night. I know I have the final stats sitting around here somewhere, but why don't you just we talked a little bit. Why don't you talk about the game last night in general?
It was a good experience for it being the first Heritage Bowl and being in it to be able to win it. And our whole team confidence levels, they were high, very high. So we just came in and not nervous or anything.
You had a lot of situations. You all ran a pretty diverse playbook. I mean, you all had some gadget plays in there. You had some I guess, read option-ish kind of plays, if you will. Talk about, I guess, your coach's strategy and how, specifically how it was, Coach Valdez was a late hire. He was just hired over the summer. And it looked like he had a pretty diverse playbook put in there. Talk about how your team kind of adapted and adjusted so quickly and so well to a system.
Well, at first, it was pretty hard, because we were so used to our old playbook, just run, then hit her with the pass. So we had to get used to this one based on the Arkansas offense. Hurry up. There's a lot of conditioning, a lot going on. And all in one play, you got to know your reads and everything else that's going into the play. So we have to just get together, and we have to get together on weekends, weekdays, after school, before school, just to get it in.
We observed last night that you were making a lot of the right reads at the right time. So I'm sure you're, there's more. Everyone knows the head coach. I'm sure your coordinators and position coaches and other assistants. Yeah, they talk about him and talk about how your teammates kind of. We all had to pick it up together.
Coach Peters, he's a pretty tough guy. His expectation levels are very high. Like he want it all. He want it all out of you. He don't want you leaving nothing on the table.
Yeah, man. This is Gerard Piper with Joker P. We met a little bit earlier, and I was glad to see you. We actually covered you last year. We're on the basketball team. And I like the name, Levi Lewis. That's just a nice, smooth name, my brother.
Sounds like an athlete.
Yeah, it sounds like
the name of a Gatorade commercial, man.
Right. Here with Levi Lewis, But tell me about the rivalry between Scotlandville and McKinley. Of course, I graduated from McKinley, so it hurted me last night to see you do that to my team. But I got to give you a lot of credit, man. I got to give you a lot of credit. You guys are a lot better than I thought, which I've told you that. I thought that you made great decisions in the game. You didn't turn the ball over. You started out a little bit hype, but once you settled in, man, you was throwing darts, bullets. You was controlling the offense. But I want to know, how hyped were you for that game by the big crowd, by being in the first game, and the rivalry? Did they emphasize that, and were you guys just really hyped, to beat McKinley? Just tell the truth.
Yeah, we was pretty hyped from day one. So after that game on Glen Oaks that Sunday, we was ready. So it came to a phase that we was ready. We was hyped. Everybody on our team was hyped come Thursday, so we had to calm them down because Thursday practice was so live that we had to calm them down and stuff. But we was pretty hyped for that game.
Talk about, and I asked your coach about this yesterday, but from a player's perspective, my generation, which is about 20 years older than yours, for a lot of folks who went to Scotlandville then, there wasn't even a football team there back in the 80s and early 90s, and I was telling my girlfriend went to Scotlandville, and I said, yeah, we're covering the Scotlandville McKinley game, and she said, they have a football team? There was a team a long time ago, they went away for a while, came back in fairly recent years. Scotlandville won a playoff game for the first time, since my lifetime anyway, last year. And now you all are building on that, and you have Coach Valdez. Talk about, I guess with you being in school, I don't know if you realize how kind of relatively new this is for the community, for the older people, but talk about the building of this program and the expectations coming into the season, coming off of a really good year last year.
First, I got to thank God, because my whole team, we just kept God on our shoulders and just stayed prayed up for every game. Just kept them on our shoulders. And building on to this season, off of last season, we just got to stay consistent. More consistent. That's what we stress. Be consistent.
Right. Well, I wanted to know, you played quarterback last night. Have you played quarterback your whole life? Is that the position that you really want to play?
Yeah, I played quarterback my whole life, ever since I was 7.
Wow.
At first when I was in Pee Wees, I tried to play all over the field, which I did, but they didn't have any other quarterback, so I had to step up and be that guy.
Right. So tell me this. With the new changes of coaches, do you like this system better than the old system?
It's a pretty good system. Both of them kind of levels out, but Oregon-style offense, hey, you got to like it.
Right, most definitely. Well, last night was the first annual Heritage Bowl, and the theme of the Heritage Bowl was basically togetherness, and so it was kind of like trying, I guess, put the rivalry down where it's more of a competition, but make it a healthy rivalry. The bands played together, teams came out together. What you thought about that?
That was a pretty good idea, because I was shocked that they came up with that idea, because I never thought in a million years that would happen. They never make a bowl game out of this.
Right.
That's a pretty good idea.
Isn't that cool, man? I mean, y'all had, I thought it was, we were talking about this before the game. You had the Southern's band playing at halftime, right? Usually college bands try to play at NFL games, right? They don't come to play at high school games, and they came there, which I thought was really awesome. We did have an opportunity to speak to Pastor Robinson. He was the coordinator. He and Pastor Powell, I believe the other gentleman's name was, of the Heritage Bowl, and I just wanted to kind of get, since we brought that up, kind of get their comments. I thought it was really telling. It kind of leads into some of what Levi was saying and Piper, what you were saying. This was Pastor Robinson. Eric Hatfield here for Louisiana All American Sports. I'm here with the organizers of the first annual Heritage Bowl. I'm here with Pastor Robinson. Great show. I enjoyed it immensely. I call a lot of high school football. This was a fantastic showcase tonight. I'm looking forward to more of them. But talk about the Heritage Bowl, what made y'all bring it about, and so on.
Hey, we wanted to do all we could to try to bring these two communities together, Scotlandville Magnet and McKinley, two of the historical African-American schools in this community, and we thought that it would be a great tool to bring two communities together in fellowship and in brotherhood and academics and athletics.
Well, we got that tonight. Great showcase. Now, whose idea was it to get the two bands to play the anthem together?
It was a combined effort of both the organizers and the school administrators, so it was a great show. We were grateful for the Southern University Marching Band for being a part of this historical event and an event that would get larger as the years go on.
Talk about getting, Not every day that we see a college band and one of the best college bands around, the Human Jukebox, coming to play at a high school game. Usually college bands try to play at the NFL games. How'd you guys do that? Talk about that.
Southern University has always been about the heritage of the community. It's one of our historical black universities. The band director is an advocate of bringing people together in the community, and the Human Jukebox is one means and vehicle for doing that.
It's one heck of a vehicle. Pastor Robinson, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, and thank Pastor Gavin.
Thank you very much, Pastor Gavin. Enjoyed it immensely. Pastor Gavin, that was the other gentleman. I'm sorry, I kind of bungled that a little bit there, but I was really impressed they were able to organize that, yes. And it was an organized event. You could tell there was a lot of planning that went into it, and you don't always see that at some of these organized high school games. Right, so I was really impressed with the way they rolled it out. You had the trophy afterwards and everything, like some of the basketball games and stuff.
The people turned out, man. It was a packed house in Memorial Stadium. The only thing I can complain about is Memorial Stadium is a historic place, but get it upgraded a little bit in the press box.
It was like a tomb.
Yeah, it was like I was in a casket.
Oh man, I felt like
I felt like a piece of rotisserie chicken. Man, all I had to do was spin.
Man, I got as much. I think I got as much exercise as some of the athletes, man. Going up and down those stairs, man. It was
upgraded a little bit.
It was real last
Just
night.
A little, that's right.
Talk about. I know this isn't your side of the ball, Levi, but McKinley only got, and Piper's got to be squirming here and that. They only had a total of 33 net yards.
Wow.
7 sacks of the quarterbacks, of the two different quarterbacks, Larvinet and Christian Smith. Thank you. Negative 53 yards, minus 53 yards on the ground. What was your observation of the defense? And there was a fella, number 6, who was just lighting, and I forgot his name, but he was lighting folks up. DeAndre Williams was lighting suckers up and setting fools on fire. Talk about those performances.
Fullback too, right?
Fullback Malik Williams.
Yeah.
But Malik Grant.
Talk about the defense, though.
Well, a great thing about our defense, they come with it. They just like how coaches expect, no expectation. They don't hold anything back. They bringing it every play they bringing it. And by our defensive coordinator, Sean Beauchamp, Coach Beauchamp, he got a great system with him. And our defense, they all fire. Them some grown men.
Some grown men. I like
young grown men. Yeah, I like that. Hey, I want to ask you, number one, who is your favorite player? And what are your expectations for this season? Who is your favorite player, like either be NFL or whatever? Who do you grow up idolizing? And do you pattern yourself after a certain player, or you just go out and do your thing?
My favorite player when I was growing up was Michael Vick.
Okay.
And like
Southpaw quarterback, another
left-handed. Yeah,
right.
It kind of switched up over the years. Now it's Russell Wilson because he can throw. He's a triple threat. He can throw. He can run. He got options.
Well, you picked a couple of good ones there, man. A couple of real good ones. Especially the latter. You could definitely model your game after that fella and go some places, man.
And Mr. Levi's in the studio. He's blinging.
Yeah.
He's got a big ring on his finger. And it ain't man, I looked at it, so I guess we let the cat out the bag.
Levi Lewis is Scotlandville. He's also a basketball player. We mentioned his name a few times. Played some really good defense down the stretch. Some things aren't reflected in the stat sheet, but even we commented last year while we were covering the championship games that a lot of what you did wasn't reflected in the stat sheet. I know it's football season, but you are on one of the most historic and heralded basketball programs in the city of Baton Rouge and in the state. Real briefly, talk about your experience playing with Coach Sample and being a part of the Scotlandville Hornets basketball team.
My experience playing with the basketball team, those guys that I play with, we bond together. So as of being such a little team and just sort of minimal, you bond together when you're together and stuff. And it's our coach, he stresses defense. He stresses because you can't get no stops. And they scoring, you constantly scoring, the game points just go up. So you got to play defense.
Do you have one sport do you like more than the other or equal?
It's about equal right now.
That's cool, man. Look, I want to one last thing on the Scotlandville Hornets. I want, of course, we talked about Coach Valdez. Our experience with Coach Valdez, he was a coach of West St. John. We covered a few District 6-1-8 games with West St. John and White Castle, and he was very, very successful over there. I mean, I'm sure he's told you he's gotten his team to the Superdome. He brings a winning mentality up to the 5A level. I want to play some remarks from Coach, just very briefly from Coach Valdez, and kind of have you talk about him after those remarks. This was Coach Robert Valdez right immediately after the presentation of the Heritage Bowl trophy last night. Eric Hatfield with Louisiana All American Sports. I'm here with Coach Robert Valdez. The first annual Heritage Bowl, your guys came out and made a statement. You told us beforehand that you had some strategy. It looks like it played out well. Talk about that.
I'm just glad that the players came out and executed the game plan, and the effort and was there. We made some mistakes, but we kept patient and we just kept plugging away. So I'm just very, very excited about the way we came out, executed on offense, and lights out defensively. I mean, defensive effort was tremendous. In special teams, again, you have to be special. So I was very, very happy with the effort and how we came out in our first game and the things we were able to do.
Levi Lewis, I'm speechless. I mean, he's looked fantastic for a first game. Talk about his passing, his decision-making, his elusiveness. We were lauding him throughout the entire broadcast.
Levi's a special guy. Levi is, he has a lot of talent throwing and running, and we've been able to put a lot on his shoulders, and he's been able to carry it. And the offense is centered around having a great athletic quarterback that makes good decisions, and he's perfect for what we're trying to do.
So that was your coach, Robert Valdez. Talk about him in general. What it's like playing for him and having him teach you guys, and how the team responds to him.
Coach Valdez, he's a very good coach. In practice, while we're in practice, he stresses over repetition, and getting the right steps, because that little things matter. The little changes can make big changes. Coach Valdez, I'm speechless because it's a lot to say. I really can't say it.
Oh, that's cool. Look, you said a lot. I like how you're outgoing. A lot of high school athletes can ball in the field, but get a little shy when they get a microphone in front of them. You don't do that. That's a good thing. That's going to take you a long way. I think we have a call coming in.
Oh, do it?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, let's take it.
Yeah. So look, Levi, stick around with us. We like to talk sports. I hope you like to talk sports, and we're going to invite you to chime in every now and then and talk a little sports with us in the studio. We had some other action going on in high school football. A lot of big games, actually. A lot of big matchups. A lot of big non-district matchups. Is that Perry? Okay.
Let's see.
So we had a lot of big non-district games going on. Let's really quick talk about some of the other action in the high school on the high school schedule. First of all, Parkview Baptist and Catholic High, that game was actually on television last night. That game was going back and forth. We kept you updated with some of the scores last night. Parkview Baptist wound up pulling off the win against Catholic High. I believe they were playing at the Shrine on the airline, but that was a very tight game. It was finally decided by a fourth and goal play at the 1-yard line when it was tied in the fourth quarter, and Parkview Baptist was able to edge out Catholic. Rummel versus U-High. U-High had the lead a couple of times. Quarterback DJ White, who we've had in the studio before, he had his hands full, and Rummel's depth, I think, was finally a little bit too much as Rummel defeated U-High 24-7. Of course, you mentioned Scotlandville over McKinley 44-0. Brother Martin really was busting out the whooping stick on Plaquemine in a game that was over with at halftime. It was 38-10 or 38-7 at halftime, I believe. It was really bad. Plaquemine did put a few points on the board, but they fell to the Brother Martin Crusaders 58-34. East Feliciana, in a rivalry game, defeated West Feliciana by the score of 26-10. Dedham Springs shut out East Ascension, which was a little surprising. So I'm not sure what's going on with the Spartans this year, as the Spartans are usually a pretty potent program. So are the Yellow Jackets of Dedham Springs, but they were blanked as they did nothing, as they lost 26-0, and that's the phone again. Lutcher managed to defeat Dutchtown as they came from behind and won 20-19. Madison Prep, in a shocking victory, defeated Class 3A state champion Livonia 13-7. Is that Coach? Defeated them 13-7 in a shocking upset. over Livonia. So Madison Prep, which was in the Division IV semifinals last year, looks like they're building up on where they left off from last year. So those are some of the biggest scores that we have. We do have one report on the high school scene that was, and we're just getting these in this morning, and it's kind of on a tragic note. Franklin Parish High School football player died after he was injured in a game Friday night. The team's coach, Aaron Dietrich, told told KNOE that sophomore Tyrell Cameron suffered a neck injury during a punt return in the fourth quarter of the season opening game against Sterlington High. He was rushed to an emergency room where he died. The sheriff, Kevin Comp, confirmed the death. We will have more on that as it rolls in, but that I got that alert literally before I got in my car to come to the studio. So that's a very sobering report, which we'll try to bring more as the story advances, but a very sobering report on what was otherwise a spectacular night of high school football in Louisiana. And we have Coach Perry Daniels on the line. Coach.
Good morning.
Good morning, good brother.
Oh, man. First thing, is there someone supposed to call me?
Levi Lewis is here in studio with us.
Oh, awesome. Levi, great to speak with you. You played an awesome game last night. I heard the broadcast on WHYR.org. Has he had an opportunity to talk about his head football coach?
Right before you called in, actually. You missed all the fireworks, Perry. It was right before you called in. He was talking about Coach Valdez, but by all means, hey, chime away, man.
Well, no, I don't want to go back and regress, and I'm sure, Joker, have you had a chance to talk about the McKinley situation?
Yes, a little bit. It wasn't too much to talk about.
Let me. I heard the broadcast last night, and I heard you in a little surprise regarding them sticking to their game plan, and I just wanted to bring some coaching experience into that.
Okay.
You have to remember that these kids practiced football since last spring. So they've been practicing on this offense all this time. The only month that they take off is July, basically. Other than that, they're practicing football. So it's tough to change course just because you're not being effective in the first football game of the year. Your offense, you lose all credibility with your team if you've been practicing for months on this spread offense, and then in one half of football, or the first game of the season, you go back to being an three-receiver set. That you just lose all credibility with the team.
Right.
So, Coach, go ahead,
Coach.
Hello?
Yes, can you hear? Go ahead, fire away.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Coach.
Oh, wow. So you didn't hear any of that?
No, we heard
Wow.
it. No, we got all of it.
No, we got all of it.
No, I thought you had more. I thought you had more than that.
No. So.
But I totally agree, Coach, with you, and I think a lot of time with watching how they were last year and me seeing this, I didn't catch it right away. Because after the game, I thought about it. I said, well, it's the first game of the season. And I asked Eric, I said, is it maybe Scotlandville's a lot better than what I really thought? And maybe, it takes a game or two to be able to get this offense. So let me calm down and, but when they just, you know what I mean? But with 0 points, oh, that hurt me, man. Levi, he's sitting right next to me, too. This is the man did it, Perry. He's sitting right next to me. Great game, though, man.
Let me say, though, Coach Valdez, and we knew this, that Coach Valdez is one of the best coaches in the state of Louisiana.
Man.
And he just took over that team, about a month ago, Levi?
Month ago, yeah.
Wow. Man, what a job, man. It was awesome game plan. You guys executed. And I'm rooting for you guys. I said it last night, man. I'm actually rooting for you guys. You guys showed me something. I think that the team should be considered more in the running of a state title. From what I've seen last night, man, your offensive line, your defense,
Wow.
McKinley is, and so I'm definitely rooting for you guys.
So
I know the Scotlandville faithful are listening, and Levi, did you all have practice this morning, Levi?
We had practice at 12.
At 12.
Oh, you leave there.
Yes, sir.
So we're probably on in the Scotlandville locker room as we speak. So Coach Valdez, I'm wondering, this isn't single-A football. This is Class 5A football, and I was a little disappointed that I did not see a kicking game out of the Scotlandville Hornets. And, Coach, I think that's going to bite you if that's not developed over the course of the season.
Well, Coach.
You got away with it in single-A football with the Rams, but in 5A football, the Catholic Highs, those folks, they get the ball down to the 10-yard line. They're going to kick a field goal. They can't get it in.
And Coach, if there's one thing, and by the way, you'll be able to hear the replay of the broadcast. It'll be uploaded to Louisiana All American Sports.com and to YouTube later this weekend. But there's one thing I can do with competency in the game of football, and that's kick a football and punt a football. And during the broadcast, I was just dying last night that of all the things McKinley did wrong, the one thing they did right is they punted and kicked well. And you're right, I did not see that out of Scotlandville, and that is going to be a difference maker, I think, in the postseason. So I'm sure Coach Valdez is listening. Levi, you're welcome to stay throughout as long as you want to, but if you have 12 o'clock practice, you you stay as long as you want, but let us know when you need to go, okay?
All right, gotcha.
So anyway, look, that's going to put a cap on the high school game from last night, and we've got to go on from the boys to the men, as this is the first weekend of college football, and of course the Southern University Jaguars. First of all, the Human Jukebox was awesome last night, and we mentioned that a couple of times. They put on one heck of a show, and like I said at the top of the hour, I loved how the Jags, you have a college band, and one of the best college bands in the country, how they came to play at a high school game. I mean, I just thought that was awesome.
And then they had where they came out with Scotlandville band and McKinley band did a routine together, and I thought that was cool.
It was in the true spirit of heritage and harmony. In fact, to bring us into the college game, here's a little taste of the Human Jukebox. And with that, the Southern University Jaguars take their show on the road up north to Ruston, Louisiana, to face the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs. Southern had a little bit of, I guess, a resurgence. Not a resurgence. They had a good year last year in their program. I think they're looking to take it to the next level after having won the SWAC championship in 2013. They have some potential, and they have a lot of players. They have some players returning who could make a difference this year. I mean, the man who stood out to me last year was Willie Quinn, big-time punt return big-time punt return. Big-time punt returner last year. Sorry, I got distracted. And then, of course, the Jags know that they have a guy with Jeff Driscoll coming in and for Louisiana Tech, and he's got a little bit of a pedigree coming in. It's going to be interesting to watch. And, of course, Daniel Brown of the Jaguars, who was a big-time player, I believe he was a second-team All-SWAC player last year, he's returning. So it's going to be interesting to watch the SU Jags take on going up to play an FBS opponent in Louisiana Tech.
I think it's going to be a great experience for them. I think, man, but what is Coach going to think? That's what I want to know. By playing these guys in the FBS, we know Coach at Southern University, man, we love this guy. We support him.
I tell you, I think we have we got to actually we're on the hotline. Hold on, Coach Odom. He just came in on the hotline. He heard us. He's calling. And I tell you what, man, Coach knows that he's got he keeps winning. He's going to have a big contract waiting at the end, so he's got to make sure he gets his money right. Coach, what you got to say about this big game against Tech? Coach?
My money is like
whoa. I'm sorry, Coach. We couldn't hear you. Say it again.
Playing with my money is like playing with my emotion.
That was Coach Big Worm, Coach Dawson Odoms of Southern University, man. Playing with his money is like playing with his emotions. The boys better go ahead and bring it to Louisiana Tech today.
I'm with it.
We have fun with Coach Odoms. Perry, what you got?
Hey, And you know, that's what this game is about. Southern University, win, lose, or draw, walks away with a $350,000 check.
That's right.
And for a program of its caliber, $350,000 makes a huge impact.
$350,000 is a lot of money. I know. I read the game on the other side of town, McNeese State. I read in the paper they were getting a $500,000 paycheck. That was, I believe, 5% of their budget. And I know just on sheer volume that McNeese just has a larger program and just has a bigger volume than Southern. So I'm thinking if that's 5%, 350 might be 10%. I'm just taking a wild guess, but might be 10% of the athletic budget. I mean, that's a big chunk. So that's a win-win for, I think, all teams involved. That's Not to mention these athletes get to play at a bigger level and really get to face some tough competition.
Absolutely, and the Southern University Jaguars have nothing to lose here. You know, if they go up there and pull off an upset, it does a tremendous amount for the program. You get all types of publicity. They're talking about it all over the nation if they happen to pull off an upset. So, and as long as you come out fairly uninjured, it's a victory for the Jaguar program. Because, you know, you're not going to see this caliber of competition in the SWAC.
Absolutely. You know, it's about getting that team ready, and it's all about the it's all about the loot too. And I think Southern can come away with both. I would love to see the Jags go up there to Ruston and pull off an upset. But one thing that kind of dampened my expectations this morning. Well, never mind. That stat is off. Never mind. But it's very tough for an FCS opponent to go up and win. But it has happened. We've seen examples. You know, we've seen the Appalachian states of the world knock off the Michigans of the world and so on. So it's a possibility. And Southern, they've got offensive weapons. My concern with the Jags, Perry, and you watched them probably a little more closely than I have, they can throw the ball, which they throw it well and they throw it a lot, and which is good. And they have a good running game. You don't often see both at the FCS level. What we're seeing lately is a lot of these spread offense, chuck and duck, pass. Southern can run the football on the ground. My concern is the defense, and particularly in the trenches. I noticed they got. You know, last year they got pushed off the line quite a few. They had trouble stopping the run when other teams ran, and the tackling was, and I think that probably led to a couple of the shortcomings they had. Coach, I know you have your ear a little closer to the ground on the bluff than I do. Do you see any signs of optimism for improving those plugging some of those defensive holes?
Well, unfortunately, the Division I transfer out of the state of Florida was ruled academically ineligible this past week. So that's going to hurt. That was the plan to fill some of those holes, especially in leadership. And I can't recall the young man's name at this point, but so Coach Odoms recognizes that and had a plan to feel that, and now we just have to kind of see. I want Jason Dykes, the young former McKinley High football player, played running back for me at McKinley High, actually, is one of the backup defensive backs up there who's scheduled to get a lot of playing time. So it's going to be interesting. That is the big question for Southern University. What is that defense going to do? In fact, you know, forgive me, guys. I've got to, with Levi Lewis there, I've got to ask a few more questions.
Fire away.
Because, Levi, do you know who the Southern University quarterback is?
I'm trying to, I know who it is. I'm trying to recall.
Don't worry, young man. He has that look like he's looking up into the right, trying to remember. I had the same look on my face if you had asked me that question this morning. So it's all good.
Okay. Well, that quarterback's name is Austin Howard.
Number 10, right?
Yes. Do you know where he went to school?
Yep. Where my coaches came from. Both of them.
Absolutely.
10 and 7.
Oh, they went to West St. John?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. And the quarterback before him, do you know what his name is?
I can't recall his
name. It rhymes with Slay Joseph. You talking about Dre Joseph, Coach?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you know where he went to school?
West St. John.
West St. John.
That's a good guess.
Well. So my question to you, Levi. do you have any plans on a school?
Yeah, I have a lot of plans on going to school.
Have we narrowed it down? Do we have any general idea of where you may go?
Not quite yet. I don't have a general idea.
What Coach is trying to lead you into is there seems to be a path of success. Coach, first of all, is a Southern University graduate. Let us start off with that. Second of all, he's kind of suggesting here there's a path of people under the tutelage of Robert Valdez going on to start at Southern University. So he's trying to make suggestions. We would never try to unduly influence a high school football player. I'm just saying, just consider the possibilities. There's a little lineage there. They got the rock. So no, I mean, it is something to consider. And you got a great coach. I mean, you got one heck of a coach.
Yeah. You're just a junior, right?
Yes, sir. Just a junior.
And a joker. A lot of people don't know this, though. I've been watching Levi Lewis for a while. He may not even be aware of it, but he played junior football for your schoolmate, Coach John Mims, with the South Baton Rouge Rams. Is that correct, Levi?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir. Oh, see, you done your homework.
Oh, Perry does his homework, man. Perry knows local athletes I'm blown away by his knowledge of the local talent here.
And actually, before we came on air, me and Levi was sitting in the studio, and he was telling me that. We talked about that, and I didn't know they was telling me that he played for the Rams, and Johnny Wright and John Mills, and I was telling him those are my schoolmates. And I grew up with those guys. Pat Green was my other classmate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, man,
Current assistant basketball coach at McKinley.
Right, and I was like, you come from good stock then. You come from good fundamentally background. You come from the Rams, so I'm definitely rooting for you, man. I'm just glad to see you, man. We love doing this job. We love covering you guys, as I told you, here at Louisiana All American Sports, man. And we're about uplifting and giving you guys all of the publicity and all of the support that we can, and believe that, man. That's what we're about, especially Coach Perry Daniels, So.
All right, so look, fellas, next week we have the return of our segment, probably our most popular segment, I Told You So. So we got to go around the horn and get some picks and make sure we get Levi Lewis's pick.
Absolutely, man.
Right.
Yeah. Well, this is almost going to be a softball question for our guests, but let's go around the horn. We got Southern University, and we'll talk about the other game in just a sec. If you have 5 more minutes, I don't know.
Yeah, I have 5 minutes.
Okay, that's cool. So look, around the horn, I think I expect Louisiana Tech to win against Southern. The question is by how much. I'm going to say that I expect Southern to put at least 17 points on the board, but I do expect La Tech to win the game.
I'm picking Louisiana Tech too. I'm really looking to see how Southern plays. I'm just looking to see their team, not really the score. I just want to see how they play and get this experience. So I'll say they would lose by 14. I'm gonna go on a limb and say they can stay close to 14.
Levi?
It's probably gonna be a pretty tough game because Southern they're gonna try to come with their best A game. They're gonna try to come with it.
Who are you picking? We got to put you on the spot. Who are you picking to win?
I'm going with LI Tech.
And I think that's a safe pick. Hey, Coach.
I thought I was going to have someone with me. I'm blue through and through, so
okay.
I have to pick the Jaguars, and I think they're going to pull. Every year an HBCU pulls off an upset throughout the season, and I think this year Louisiana Tech is prime for an upset, so I'm going to pick the Jaguars.
Well, I'll tell you what, I will be tuned in back and forth between that and the other game we're about to introduce. That game will be on Cox Sports Television at 6 o'clock tonight Central Time. It will also be on KQXL 106.5 FM if you want to tune in and hear the Jags if you're not near your TV set or do not have Cox Sports. On the other side, of course, there is a game right here in town as the tailgating started and people started lining up at 5 o'clock in the morning and getting the smokers out and getting the trailers hitched. And well, you know what time it is when you start to hear this theme playing. That's right. LSU is finally getting underway. We're going to see Brandon Harris. We're going to see Coach Miles bring his team out there again. We're going to see the post Chavis defense, the Cam Cameron offense again, as the McNeese Cowboys, our neighbors to the west, are coming to town to take on LSU. That game will be on the SEC Network tonight at 7 o'clock. McNeese is getting a $500,000 paycheck. I think we all expect LSU to win that game. The question is, what can we expect to see? I am hoping to see Brandon Harris, the quarterback, show off that rifle arm, but we know he's got a rifle arm. We knew that in high school. What I'm really hoping is that he comes in, comfortably gets his check downs, his reads, snap counts right, the things he struggled with last year under what's kind of a complicated offense under Coach Cam Cameron. I'm just hoping that Brandon Harris, I'm not worried about him looking good as so much as I'm worried about him not looking bad with the basics.
I'm expecting LSU to come out and dominate today, and I'm looking forward. I have a lot of expectation with LSU. I think that LSU is going to do really good this year. They kind of been under the radar. They got a low seeding ranking here in preseason or pre-college season, but I think that with Fournette and I think with Brandon Harris and the wide receiver.
They got two of them. There's Malachi Dupree and there's another baller. His name is
Dupree.
Traven Durrell.
Malachi Dupree, and with this defense, they call him DBU now. LSU. There's a lot of defensive backs that come out of LSU, and I expect a dominant performance, a win over 21 points.
Mr. Lewis?
I'm trying to. Oh, go ahead, Mr. Lewis.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I think LSU should pull this one off. They got a good powerhouse as running backs to DBs to quarterbacks. They gonna come with it.
So you picking LSU to win?
Yeah, I got LSU.
Coach?
Well, I'm trying to figure out how you get the name DB University. The last couple of seasons that we've watched, the DBs have been coached.
Boo! No, but no, they have. You're correct, Coach. I mean, they've gotten torched at the most inopportune times. There's no getting around that.
But statistically, I get it. You know, they're ranked very high in the SEC statistically overall, and I think it's because they play a lot of running teams preseason. You know, off SEC schedule.
Coach, I gotta stop you real quick. Levi Lewis has to run. I just wanted to thank you for coming in to join us today. He's got to go to practice and pick up where they left off last week. So thank you very much, young man.
Hold on. Before you leave, Levi, let me get one more thing in, man. Joker kept mentioning, both of you actually kept mentioning last night how great the Scotlandville offensive line looked pushing McKinley off the ball. And I'm not sure if you realize that Coach Valdez was a former Southern University offensive lineman, and offensive line coach, that's who he is. So if Levi could talk about the protection that he felt he had last night and about his offensive line before he leaves real quick.
I gotta really talk about my offensive line. Those guys, they're very coachable. They work hard. They come to practice every day. They give it their all. It's a lot on my mind.
Name a couple of them, Levi.
Manzi Williams, Roger Thomas, Brian Thomas, Travellis, a couple of DeQuano Lewis.
Right.
So it's a lot of those guys.
Go ahead.
My old line, I really appreciate what they did. I gotta take those guys out to eat. Probably Sunday or today or something. I gotta take those guys out to eat.
Yeah, go to Mickey D's, man. Get them some McDoubles, man. They'd earn them cheeseburgers.
Yeah. 2 for $5.
We thank you, man.
Thanks a lot, man. We really appreciate you joining us, and best of luck. We'll see you a couple of times throughout the season on Louisiana All American Sports. Thanks a bunch, and give your best to our coach.
All right.
That was quarterback Levi Lewis of the Scotlandville Hornets. Gracious enough to join us this morning and here in the studio.
Thank you.
All right, so Coach, I apologize for you actually had a good hot take on LSU's Swiss cheese defensive backs from last year. I didn't mean to interrupt. Just I know Levi had to get to practice, and we didn't want him to be late.
Yeah. So look, but the question regarding the LSU program I guess I'm not quite as optimistic as the two of you are, and I understand Eric's passion for the Tigers, and I guess it's just a hometown thing, Joker. But there are some serious questions on the offensive line as well as the defensive line with this program. I'm excited about seeing Leonard Fournette, and, you know, we've got a great arm there in the quarterback. However, as Levi just alluded to, if the linemen aren't protecting you, you can't do anything. So that's the big question mark for LSU offensively and defensively.
Yeah, no, I you know, and you got a good point there, Perry. Before I rebut to that, just want to remind you, in 14 minutes we have coming up Noel Jackson with Music Satisfaction here on 96.9 FM WHYR-LP Baton Rouge Community Radio. But no, you're right, Perry. On a couple of notes. One, they had a lot of defections in the trenches. A lot of defensive linemen going to the NFL and offensive linemen who graduated out and went to the NFL. And I don't know. You know, Elliott Porter, I believe, is gone. I don't think he's coming back this year. That was a lot of senior leadership in the middle at center, and we saw some deficiencies in the middle of that offensive line, in pass, not so much in run situations, but in pass situations. And Brandon Harris is going to need that protection, kind of piggybacking right off what Levi said. I'm not as pessimistic on the – I do get your point on the defensive backs, but the athleticism and the talents there, they just have to – frankly, I mean, it was blown assignments last year, which is on the players, not the coaches. I expect the players to play better in the backfield. The front seven, though, those – in particular the front four, I do have, you know, I'm not as pessimistic, but they did have some turnover. They're a lot lighter. We're going to have to see where that happens, but I think the coaching, I think the quality of the raw talent of those defensive linemen, I think they should be able to smooth over those rough edges throughout the year. But the O-line, there are some question marks, and as we've seen, it all starts in the trenches on the offensive line. Joker, when you were letting Levi out, Perry was saying, he's got some concerns about LSU in the trenches. He doesn't necessarily share your optimism because of line play on both sides.
Right. Well, I'm just so excited about the football season, man. You know, especially SEC with John Chavis going to Texas A&M. I'm excited about seeing them, and just football in general, because football is one sport where the positions of coaches, they change so much within, and they play each other. It's not like basketball in the sense where coaches kind of move from. But in football, you know, your defensive coordinator play with this team, and next year is with this team. So it's so many storylines, and it's always dramatic. So this year we're going to find that out about LSU. Can Brandon Harris step up? I think that he can. I think Leonard Fournette can be one of the best backs in the country. He came out with all the hype. Let's see, now you had 1 year. Now let's see, what can you do? Can you be a Melvin Gordon? Can you be a Todd Gurley? And when you have a player like that, everything else can fall back. You know, it takes a lot of pressure off of the quarterback. He don't have to be as good. So these are the things. Can we get a person to a breakout type of year, like a Manziel? You know, that type. When you get a type of player like that, you know, which Les Miles, I mean, he had Jeremy Hill. He had a couple real good players. But for the most part, Nick Saban has had a lot of the real, you know, Heisman Trophy winners or Heisman Trophy players. But I'm just excited to see what's going on in college, man. It's football. You know, we got a lot going on. We just got some news in the NFL.
We got
about your boys.
Yeah, we got a couple. Let's talk about these young college players. Perry, are you ready to go to the other games around the country? And
Absolutely.
So we have some other games. Look, we have a big matchup. Speaking of Alabama, as they're taking on 20th ranked Wisconsin. Look, this is the whole story. I can boil this down. This is just my humble opinion. First of all, I expect Alabama to win the game. Wisconsin is a team that comes in every year. Excuse me. They always have a good running game. They play tough on the line, quality defense. I just don't see the passing game this year being dynamic enough to keep Alabama's defense on its toes. The one window of opportunity that Wisconsin will have is that Alabama doesn't really. They don't have number one. They don't have a proven quarterback. They don't have a returning quarterback. Blake Sims is out of eligibility. Second of all, I'm really not from what I've been reading about them, I'm not too impressed with what Alabama has under center. The only thing is, Alabama's won championships without having blockbuster quarterbacks. They just have guys that come in and do their job. And, of course, Heisman hopeful Derrick Henry, who I always compare to a pony when I see him running, is going to be a lot for the Wisconsin defense to deal with. Now, Wisconsin's got good physical linebackers. They have traditionally. They've been tough on the line. I've seen a couple of those linemen, I think, were all first-team Big Ten. So, I mean, they're not going to get run over, but I just think Alabama, between coaching and personnel and their inability to throw against Alabama's defense, I think they're going to be too much for the Badgers. I expect Alabama to win, and I expect them to win comfortably. That game, by the way, is tonight on ABC at 7 o'clock.
Too much Nick Saban. Nick Saban is not going to come out and try to get with a quarterback and let him try to manage the game. Nick Saban's going to come out with a run game. He has those running backs in his stable, and one thing about him, he goes for what he knows how to use his strengths. So I think he's going to come out and run the ball, have a dominant defensive performance, and dominate the game, basically. So I'm going with Alabama all the way on that one.
And you know what? This Wisconsin team, I've got to say one thing about them. They're not scared. They will play anybody, and they keep signing up to play these SEC games, these SEC teams in the state of Texas. And if there's ever been an opportunity for them to win one, this is the year.
I agree.
This is the year. However, I agree with what both of you said. Too much Nick Saban, too much tradition. I think it's going to be a good football game, but I think in the end, the SEC pedigree, the history of Alabama wins out, and they win this game.
Big game on Labor Day night. The defending national champion Ohio State Buckeyes, they face the Virginia Tech Hokies. They're interconference rivals from the ACC. They're facing the only team that put a blemish on their record last year and kind of forced Ohio State into that fourth seed. Fortunately, with the new playoff arrangement beginning last year, Ohio State was able to have an opportunity to win their way to the top, and they did. And now the Buckeyes come back. They are the first team ever to get all 61 Associated Press poll first-place voters coming in, a unanimous number one, first time ever in preseason. Look, I think Ohio State's got a lot of talent. We still don't know if J.T. Barrett or Cardale Jones is going to emerge as the full-time starter. We know they have that bruising, so talented running back in Ezekiel Elliott, who's actually one of the favorites to possibly win the Heisman in 2015. I just love that name, Ezekiel. It just sounds like an athlete. Like you gotta bring it to stop Ezekiel. And you know, I expect Urban Meyer. I expect Herb, frankly, that game is at 7 o'clock tomorrow on ESPN, and I expect Herb to bring it. I just don't see how Virginia Tech is going to repeat that upset, because I saw an Ohio State team that on the offensive side got better and better and more confident leading into the postseason last year, where they just looked almost they did not make any mistakes in that postseason. Now these guys are all back. You have a lot of returning players. I'm a little shocked that with the SEC with the West Coast contingent, that Oregon didn't rip off a first place vote, or that Alabama didn't rip off a first place vote, that it was unanimous. But that actually speaks to, in spite of that bias, how much the press thinks of this Ohio State team. I expect them to beat Virginia Tech. It's another game I don't expect to be too close at the end. Actually, I think they remember that loss last year, and I think they're going to make the Hokies into turkeys.
Man, Ohio State, I think Ohio State is going to win. We still don't know who the starting quarterback is. I would think it would be Cardale Jones. I mean, he came in and he won a national championship. So to me, I would still go with that. I don't think they're the best team. I don't think they are going to go undefeated.
Me neither.
But I think they're going to beat. I like Frank Beamer though. He comes with a game plan. Of course, we know he's good on special teams. Mm-hmm. You never know, but I can't go. I got to go with Ohio State.
Virginia Tech is one of the toughest places to play in the country.
I agree.
I think they pull off an upset here today and knock off the unanimous number one team.
Like, Coach, some nincompoop on a Harley was blocking you out. Say it again, Coach.
Say that again.
I think they pull off the upset and knock off the number one ranked team in the country.
All right, Coach has been in the District of Columbia a little too long. I think Coach has those DC people and those Virginia people Yeah, man, getting into his clouding his thinking. But I'm teasing you, Coach. It is a tough place to play. Beamer's a heck of a coach. I do think you have what do I call it? A little subconscious regional bias there.
You know what? Early in the week, though, I was thinking the same thing like Perry. I was very close to calling for Virginia Tech, but I just gained my sense.
Joker, you brought something up though. If this game is really close, special teams play. Look, Frank Beamer's as good as he gets. That's actually how he cut his teeth into the coaching profession, and at the college level. And I'm going to tell you, man, if it's close, a special teams play could break it. I think Ohio State's got too many weapons, but that game isn't. Is it? I always get the town wrong. Is it Blacksburg?
Yes.
Blacksburg, Virginia. So, I mean, that is an advantage, and it's going to be loud, and those people are going to be charged up. But, look, we got just about 4 minutes left, and there was a little bit of a couple of stories that we've got to talk about that'll be of interest to even the most casual, excuse me, I'm stumbling here. Even the most casual sports fan, as we have a couple of nuggets to deliver to you about the National Football League. Oh, yeah. So finally, the story we've been talking about all summer long. Deflategate. Finally, this story has advanced tremendously as a federal district court judge in New York ruled in favor of Tom Brady and the Players Union in what was probably the most scathing and scolding rebuke of the NFL and the commissioner and his use of power, basically saying that in the collective bargaining agreement that Roger Goodell cannot be judge, jury, and executioner, that in all situations without some kind of details being spelled out. Of one of the many write-ups, the judge criticized Roger Goodell's use of, quote, industrial justice, that Roger Goodell is basically handing out a suspension for an equipment violation equal to that of using PEDs, and there was nothing in the agreement or any of the outline guidelines to indicate that was a possibility. Basically said he was abused his power. The judge's decision is out there online, and it really leaves little pieces of Goodell and the NFL and that CBA all over the floor. And now this is the 5th consecutive loss in federal court that Roger Goodell has faced. You had the Bounty Gate with Jonathan Vilma. He lost that one. They lost the Ray Rice case last year with the indefinite suspension. They lost Adrian Peterson. They lost on Greg Hardy, and now Tom Brady. So he's running the table in reverse.
Go ahead, Coach.
This is amazing to me that this speaks to the NFL arrogance that they allowed this to go on and allow the judge to make a decision here.
Right.
I kept hearing that they were in negotiations, I was certain that the NFL Players Association was going to allow the NFL to save a little face. Mm-hmm. And it just speaks to their arrogance that just didn't happen. And now the owners are looking to throw Goodell under the bus as though they weren't in full backing of what he was doing.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's hypocritical of them to do that. So now they're going to meet in October to discuss Goodell's future.
Wow. But he did it to himself, because just like you said, the judge was basically telling the NFL, so you're not going to settle. So you're going to leave this in my hand. Okay. I'll have a decision for you by Friday. He kept basically giving them warning. I'm trying to at least let you save face and maybe get 2 games out of the deal, because I'm going to straight knock all of them out. You guys actually don't want to settle? Okay, all right. I'll make the decision. And so it just shows just exactly what Perry said. I concur 100%.
And they played a game of chicken, and they played a game of chicken. The NFL went right off the cliff. And like I said, the federal judges, maybe the NFL thought because the venue was in New York as opposed to when the players went to Minnesota, which is very, very, very organized, labor-friendly, they thought they might have had an advantage. But this is 5 straight. And actually, I left out a case going back even further than Bountygate. The StarCaps case, they received injunctions until all the players retired. So, that's really 6 in a row. The NFL's taken it.
Well, quick question for you and Perry. How long does Goodell make it? How long did he stay?
He's making money. He stays. That's simple. He's making money hand over fist, and the league is he stays. That's what he's there for.
I'm not sure, Eric. Because
I'm not sure
keep in mind now, in December, you have the movie Concussion coming out. The NFL owners are about to get a lot of slack. They're going to be under a huge microscope, and I think they need to try to change the narrative of what's going on in the NFL. So I'm not certain that Goodell lasts
25 seconds
this season. Let me say it is a shame that they have a verbal agreement amongst themselves not to hire Ray Wright.
15 seconds.
Wow.
So
ADT, JNS, love you.
Thank you, Mom. Gwen Hawkins, I love you. K-Shire Benton.
Tim Tebow released by the Eagles. Have a good afternoon. Had to slip that in.
Yeah, put that in, man. Yeah, because
Hail to the king and lots of love. May he protect us from the evil. Hail to the king, lots of love.